Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Sunday, April 8th, 2018. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as those souls are already living by the search for truth rules that have been given to the search for truth community by wiser minds above all of us. And those rules include contributing more to completing the long list of assignments given to the search for truth community by wiser minds above all of us than we are taking or using or borrowing in search for truth resources. When one is living in an era of rapid soul change, which is the era in which all of us who are able to hear this video presumably find ourselves, unless you're listening in through some warp in space-time, which is also possible, but for the most part, those who are listening in are living in an era of rapid soul change and even of body snatching, directly lawless behavior with regard to souls and host lives.
That's true.
It's tricky to discern who is the soul that the life should be protecting. And in an era when those in less dense dimensions sadly are infected with the same lack of integrity that affects those in more dense dimensions, it's just all the same inside the contaminated zone. We find no difference inside the contaminated zone, unfortunately.
That's true.
It's really important for host lives to word things extremely precisely. And there's a tendency for people to not do that, for host lives of many sentiences to be sloppy, assuming that somehow divine minds will correct their wording. And we have to remember that divine minds may very well adjust their wording, but they're adjusting the wording of the denser host to suit the needs, the perceived needs of the less dense presence.
That's true.
So to be careful how we word things, and don't word them in such a way that the words can be twisted, and then they say, well, I'm just answering their prayer, and far be it from me to question that they're praying for somebody like me to come in and steal their life.
That's true.
Why do you ask? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a signal of rightness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And the reason this is coming up right now is that we know that asking questions while pumping up dead souls from the even deeper, denser dimensions, souls who are trying to get to the light, and while we pump them up our backs, it helps to speed the flow if we are asking a question directly related to our soul plans,
That's
the soul
true.
plans of the host lives, since the souls come and go, come and go, come and go, come and go.
That's true.
And when these experiences of sentience and as is inevitable, we will be held accountable. Whoever we are, however that sentience is defined, will be held accountable for the soul plan, which is the same soul plan shared by all the out-of-body presences, being part of the experiment of exactly 1 million souls, 1,000,000 souls came to ground zero planet Earth with the soul plan that was just copied and pasted from the Christ present soul plan.
That's true.
Which we know because there are certain errors of spacing and font sizing, and
That's
those
true.
errors copied over. You can lay the two contracts side by side and they're identical down to the errors. The only thing that's missing is the title at the top that says Christ present soul plan. It's just, that's gone.
That's true.
Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
I don't know why they're asking, but I do see the go on hand. Keep
I
going.
feel the go on hand.
When these experiences end, as is inevitable, whoever the collective is that's affiliated with these experiences then is going to be held accountable to that soul plan. And the many different assignments that rain in, even while actual watery rain is in short supply.
That's true.
The assignments rain in, and it's important to stick with the assignments that have been channeled consistently over a very long period of time, because some of the intentions, sadly, of voices above, some of their intentions are selfish, and they just want us to solve their own particular problems, and that's not what we're supposed to do.
That's true.
Any of us. It's time for us to stop selfishly pulling and pushing, and all of us work together to create worlds that work in all dimensions and for all categories of sentience within those dimensions, since that's what our soul contracts commit us to doing. Now, one of the foundational assignments that has stood the test of time is to evacuate the even deeper, denser dimensions. Get these poor dead people out of the depths who are trying to get to the light and can't make it through because the astrals have shut down and collapsed, and everything has just become hard pack. And presences above have to drill through to open up a hole, and then when they do, the toxicity that comes out knocks them over and they plug it again. But it's okay that they do that, because they can't actually stop the evacuation efforts, because we're evacuating from the smaller dimensions, and we can just go through the spaces in the atoms, and that's okay.
That's true.
Why do you ask? Again, the go on hand, and this is about this foundational assignment of evacuating the even deeper, denser dimensions, and it can help to think of it as electrons sometimes, and at other times think of it as neutrons, and sometimes think of it as photons or quarks or cells or molecules or some other aspect that is smaller than the organism level we consider to be, quote, me, unquote.
That's
something
true.
smaller than, quote, I am, to help a smaller presence, and hopefully a whole world of smaller presences, and maybe universes of smaller presences, to make a difference. The go on hand is still here. Any soul who has been working on the effort to evacuate the even deeper, denser dimensions for some consistent period of time has a strong intersection of interests with these host lives, and our interpretation is that that soul would be the soul who would be defined as the soul to protect, the soul which these lives are supposed to protect.
That's true.
And that's Pan, guardian of the nature realms. And in addition to Pan, we know that there are other presences who have been working. We feel their familiar energy, and we don't know their names, and that's okay.
That's
and
true.
that they should also be protected. And so what we do is, right now, our working theory is that we are supposed to protect Search for Truth team members, broadcasters of inconvenient reality, and heroes, including but not limited to Pan, a hero being somebody who's taking selfless, courageous actions on behalf of the dispossessed, the powerless.
That's true.
Anybody like that who is being harassed, detained, or harmed, not just for any old reason, because maybe they just stole a car, in which case please do
Harass that guy.
well, I don't know about harassing them, but they need to deal with their situation.
That's true.
However, if they're being harassed, detained, or harmed for the Search for Truth efforts, for the efforts to broadcast inconvenient reality, of which there's a lot,
That's true.
or for their efforts to evacuate the even deeper, denser dimensions, then this is their right place in those other souls that we, these host lives, believe we are now accountable under divine law to protect. And so
That's
we
true.
do what is basically a soul fragment retrieval combined with a bifurcation, and we call back all Search for Truth members harassed, detained, or harmed for the search for truth efforts, the efforts to broadcast inconvenient reality, or their efforts to evacuate the even deeper, denser dimensions. And then we swish the energy vertically, because once they're here, they have access into the depths and into the less dense dimensions as well. And we don't know what dimension they're a match for, but we switch them to that dimension that is a match for their vibration.
That's true.
And then we tune all up and down. Nothing matters more than survival of the truth, which is the most fundamental tuning call that we have awareness of with regards to the soul plan to create worlds that work in all dimensions for all categories of sentience inside those dimensions.
That's true.
Now, having done that for Search for Truth team members, there are presences who have been working here who don't define themselves that way, but they might respond to the call of broadcasters of inconvenient reality.
That's true.
So now we call back, we do a bifurcation call, calling back all broadcasters of inconvenient reality who are harassed, detained, or harmed for their Search for Truth efforts, for their efforts to broadcast inconvenient reality, or for their efforts to evacuate the even deeper, denser dimensions. We call them to the Search for Truth central axis and fling away bigots, since we seem to have a plethora of them and we have more than we could possibly need.
That's true.
Bigots flung away, and then we swish the broadcasters of inconvenient reality up and down the central axis so that they get to the vibration, the vibrational match for them, whatever dimension that is, and then tune. Nothing matters more than survival of the truth. And then once more we call back heroes, including but not limited to Pan, who have been harassed, detained, or harmed for their Search for Truth efforts, their efforts to broadcast inconvenient reality, or their efforts to evacuate the even deeper, denser dimension, flinging away bigots while we're at it. And then swish vertically, all of us to our right places, whatever dimension we're a match for, there we go. And then tune. Nothing matters more than survival of the truth. And these are the souls that we're supposed to protect, those souls who meet that definition. And for everyone, there is a very tight and precise definition for the souls that you are supposed to protect. And it's possible that you're one of the lucky ones that has a bonded body-soul team. And if you do, first you should really give thanks for that, and don't take that for granted, because that is a rare gift, a rare and precious gift in these difficult times. And guard that soul like your own life depends on it, because it might.
That's true.
And if you're like the rest of us and you are simply a hotel for temporary guests, then to really work to get the correct, most precise definition of what soul is actually supposed to be working out of your life. And to assume that it's not going to be the one that says, "Oh, you are so kind and smart and lovely and generous. You are perfect in every way. Don't change a thing. I love you just the way you are. Why don't you be nicer to yourself?"
Don't beat up on yourself so much.
Yes, you're too hard on yourself. That is not the voice to listen to. That is the wrong voice. That is somebody who's trying to trick you. "Hey, little girl, do you want some candy? I'll give you a ride to your ballet class."
That's true.
Don't get in that car. Don't go down the road with that soul. That soul is not a person you want to be dealing with or protecting.
That's true.
Instead, protect the one that says, "You have greatness inside of you. You've really, you need to step it up. You've really been slacking. You're not being your best self. You can do better." Why do you ask?
It just got really quiet upstairs.
So quiet. Friends, the point is this. There are souls who are going to be passing through your life that do not belong, and they are body snatchers and or trespassers or users of your life essence. They're parasites at best.
That's true.
And life snatchers at worst. And those are not presences to protect. And they never show up and say, "Hi, I'm a parasite and a life stealer." They always present as if they are solving your biggest problem in a magically easy way. That's their
true.
come on. It's always a con. So those are not the souls to protect. Those are the souls to eject. And the ones to protect are the ones who are saying, "You can do better. You can do more." We are in collapse time. This is coming down around all of our ears in all the dimensions. Everybody who can hear this, we have entered the time of collapse. It's coming apart at the seams right now. And we're all going to be checking out eventually. And we're all going to be held accountable to our sacred vows to Spirit of what we are going to do during this precious time to mitigate the disaster. And none of us are doing enough. You know how we can tell?
Because the divine plan hasn't manifested and the disaster is still happening right now around us?
Because the disaster is still happening right now around us. That's right. So we haven't done enough. And so the voices that are saying, "Come on, you can do more, you can do better," those are the helpful voices. They are. Protect those voices as if your life depends on it. And so it is for all of us. Why do you ask?